You know that moment when you're watching a race and you think you've got it all figured out, and then suddenly everything flips upside down? Well, that's exactly what just happened in qualifying for the Austrian Grand Prix. And honestly, I'm still trying to process what I witnessed out there on that Red Bull Ring circuit. Because if you'd asked anyone after practice sessions, they would have told you this was going to be a Mercedes domination from start to finish. The silver arrows were absolutely flying, looking almost untouchable, and Ferrari seemed to be struggling just to keep their cars on the same continent as the leaders. But then qualifying happened, and suddenly the entire narrative of this race weekend got thrown completely out the window. Now we've got a situation where Lewis Hamilton is actually talking about teamwork, about collaboration, about working together with Leclerc to take down the very team he used to drive for. And let me tell you, there's something incredibly fascinating about watching a seven-time world champion openly admit that he needs help to beat his former team. That's not something you see every day in Formula One, and it tells you everything you need to know about the dynamics at play heading into Sunday's race. The Austrian Grand Prix has always been a bit of a wild card, but this year it's shaping up to be something truly special, something that could completely reshape the championship battle if things go a certain way. What makes this situation so compelling is the sheer contrast between what we saw in practice and what happened when it actually mattered. According to reports from the paddock, Mercedes had been consistently 0.6 of a second quicker than Ferrari throughout the free practice sessions. That's not a small margin in Formula One terms. That's the kind of gap that usually translates into a comfortable victory, the kind where the leader can just cruise to the finish line without breaking a sweat. But then qualifying rolled around and Ferrari managed to close that gap significantly. They're still down by about 2 to 3 tenths, which is nothing to sneeze at, but it's a hell of a lot closer than anyone expected them to be. And here's the thing that really gets me thinking about this race. If they could close that much ground overnight, what's stopping them from closing it even further before the race? The Ferrari engineers have clearly been working overtime, burning the midnight oil to figure out how to extract more performance from their package, and it seems like their efforts are finally starting to pay off. Hamilton himself acknowledged this, saying that they weren't confident they could fight for a win at the start of the weekend, but now things are looking a lot more optimistic. That's the kind of momentum shift that can completely change the psychology of a race weekend. Now let's talk about the qualifying session itself, because there's more to this story than just the timesheets. Russell managed to secure pole position, his fourth of the season, which is impressive in its own right. But what's really interesting is the context surrounding that achievement. Max Verstappen had a late crash that forced Kimi Antonelli to aboard his final flying lap, and Antonelli had been looking like a serious contender for pole. If that crash hadn't happened, we might be looking at a completely different grid order right now. Russell managed to get his lap in just before the chaos unfolded, which shows you how fine the margins are in this sport. Sometimes success comes down to being in the right place at the right time, and Russell definitely had luck on his side during that session. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night thinking about this race. Russell knows that he's going to have a target on his back from the very first corner. He's got Leclerc right behind him in second, Hamilton in third, and Antonelli lurking in fourth. That's a lot of championship caliber talent breathing down your neck, and when you've got that many hungry drivers within striking distance, things can get very messy very quickly at the start of a Grand Prix. Hamilton's comments about working together with Leclerc are particularly fascinating when you consider the history between these two drivers. They've had their moments of tension in the past, moments where they've been fighting tooth and nail for the same piece of track, but now they're on the same team and facing a common enemy, and that enemy happens to be Mercedes, the team Hamilton called home for over a decade. The emotional complexity of this situation is off the charts. Here's Hamilton, who built his legacy at Mercedes, now plotting with his Ferrari teammate to take down the very organization that gave him his 7 world championships. There's something poetic about that, something almost Shakespearean in its dramatic irony. Hamilton knows the Mercedes operation inside and out. He knows their weaknesses, their tendencies, their strategic patterns, and he's using all of that insider knowledge to try and help Ferrari gain an advantage. You couldn't write a better script if you tried. The strategic element of this race is going to be absolutely crucial, and this is where things get really interesting from an analytical perspective. According to the latest data and simulations, a two-stop strategy using medium and hard tires appears to be the optimal approach for Sunday's race. The temperatures are expected to be high, and tire degradation is going to be a major factor in determining who comes
comes out on top. Mercedes traditionally has an edge in straight line speed due to their superior engine performance, which means they should be able to defend their position on the long straights of the Red Bull Ring. But Ferrari has the advantage in the corners, and this track has enough twisty sections to make that cornering ability count. So what we're looking at is a
classic battle between straight line speed and cornering performance, and the outcome is going to depend on how well each team manages their tires and executes their strategy. Hamilton and Leclerc working together could be the key to overcoming Mercedes' straight line advantage. If they can split their strategies, put pressure on Russell from different angles, force him to defend against both of them simultaneously, they might be able to create an opportunity to get past. But let's not forget about Kimi Antonelli, who's starting from 4th place and has absolutely nothing to lose. This kid is hungry, he's talented, and he's shown throughout the season that he's not afraid to take risks when the opportunity presents itself. He's currently leading the championship, which adds another layer of pressure to this whole situation. If Russell and Antonelli can work together as teammates, they might be able to neutralize the Ferrari threat. But Mercedes has had some issues with intra-team dynamics in the past, and if there's any tension between their two drivers, Ferrari could exploit that weakness. Hamilton acknowledged this in his comments after qualifying, saying that having two Ferraris nearby is going to be a challenge. He knows that Hamilton and Leclerc are both incredibly fast, and he knows that if they start working together, he's going to have a tough job holding them off. The psychological warfare that's already started between these drivers is absolutely fascinating to watch unfold. From my perspective, what makes this race so compelling is the uncertainty surrounding Ferrari's actual race pace. We saw them make significant gains in qualifying, but we all know that qualifying pace doesn't always translate into race pace. Sometimes a car that looks great over one lap struggles to maintain that performance over a full race distance. Ferrari has had issues with tire degradation in the past, and if those issues resurface on Sunday, all of their qualifying heroics won't matter. But here's the thing, Hamilton seems genuinely optimistic about their chances. He's not just saying the right things for the cameras, he actually believes they can challenge Mercedes. That belief is going to be contagious in the Ferrari garage, and when you've got a 7-time world champion telling you that victory is possible, it tends to lift the entire team's spirits. The energy in that Ferrari camp must be electric right now, and that positive momentum could be the difference between a good result and a great one. Let's talk about the track itself for a moment, because the Red Bull Ring is unique in so many ways. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar, which means traffic is going to be a major factor. The lap times are going to be incredibly close, and one small mistake could cost you several positions. The first corner is always chaotic at the start of the race, with drivers jockeying for position into that tight right-hander. If Hamilton and Leclerc can get a good launch off the line, they could potentially get past Russell before the first corner. But Mercedes has been strong on the starts this season, and Russell is known for his consistency and his ability to hold his position when it matters most. This is going to be a battle of nerves as much as a battle of speed, and the driver who keeps their cool under pressure is going to come out on top. The altitude of the Red Bull Ring also plays a role, with the high elevation affecting engine performance and cooling. Mercedes has traditionally handled these conditions well, but Ferrari has made strides in their power unit development, and they might be closer than we think when it comes to high-altitude performance. One thing that really stands out to me is Hamilton's willingness to admit that they need to work together as a team. In the past, he's been more of a lone wolf, relying on his own abilities to win races, but now he's openly calling for collaboration, for teamwork, for a united front against Mercedes. That's a significant shift in mindset, and it shows how much he's evolved as a driver and as a person. He's not just thinking about his own race anymore. He's thinking about what's best for the team and what's best for Ferrari's championship hopes. That kind of maturity is rare in Formula One, especially among drivers who have achieved as much as Hamilton has. He could easily be arrogant. He could easily dismiss Leclerc as a threat, but instead he's embracing the partnership and recognizing that their combined strength is greater than the sum of their parts. It's a leadership quality that you don't always see in elite athletes, and it's one of the reasons why Hamilton has been so successful throughout his career.
Now let's consider the broader championship implications of this race. With Antonelli leading the championship, every race is crucial for the title battle. Mercedes needs to maximize their points haul, and having both drivers finish ahead of Ferrari would be ideal for their campaign. But Ferrari is breathing down their necks, and if Hamilton can secure a victory here, it would be a massive statement of intent for the remainder of the season. The momentum in Formula One is everything, and a Ferrari win at the Red Bull Ring would completely shift the psychological balance of power. Hamilton knows this, which is why he's so determined to make it happen. He's not just racing for the win on Sunday, he's racing for the future of the team and for the momentum that would carry them through the rest of the championship. His experience in these pressure situations is invaluable, and Ferrari is lucky to have someone with his knowledge and expertise on their side. There's also the tactical battle between the pit walls to consider. Ferrari's strategy team has been criticized in the past for making questionable decisions at crucial moments, but they seem to have improved significantly this season. Mercedes has had some issues with strategy chemistry in the past, and without Antonelli leading the charge, their execution needs to be flawless if they want to keep Ferrari at bay.
Other hand has a reputation for making aggressive strategic calls that often pay off. If Ferrari can outsmart Mercedes on strategy, they could neutralize the straight-line speed advantage that Mercedes enjoys. Hamilton has been around long enough to know all the tricks, and he can offer valuable input to the Ferrari strategists about how to approach different scenarios. That kind of collaboration between driver and team is essential for success in modern Formula One, and Ferrari seems to be getting better at it as the season progresses. The off-track battles are just as important as the on-track action, and the team that makes the better strategic decisions is usually the one that ends up in victory lane. In my opinion, what makes this Austrian Grand Prix so intriguing is the sheer unpredictability of it all. We've seen practice performances that suggested Mercedes would walk away with this one, but qualifying told a different story. We've seen Ferrari's pace improve dramatically overnight, and we've seen Hamilton openly calling for teamwork to overcome their deficit. The variables are endless, and the outcome is genuinely impossible to predict with any certainty. That's the beauty of Formula One. That's what makes it such compelling viewing. You can analyze the data, you can study the trends, but at the end of the day, anything can happen on race day. The weather could change, there could be safety cars, there could be mechanical failures, there could be contact between drivers. The list of potential outcomes is almost infinite, and that's exactly why we watch this sport. We watch because we never know what's going to happen next, because the drama and the excitement are built into the very fabric of the competition. The relationship between Hamilton and Leclerc is also worth exploring in more depth. These two have had their share of battles on track, some clean, some more controversial, but now they're fighting on the same side, and that partnership could be truly formidable if they can put their differences aside and work together effectively. Leclerc is one of the quickest drivers on the grid, and Hamilton is one of the smartest. Together, they could form a partnership that rivals any in the sport's history. The potential is there, the talent is there, and the motivation is certainly there. They both want to beat Mercedes, they both want to win this championship, and they're willing to work together to achieve those goals. It's a beautiful thing to see, two elite drivers putting aside their egos for the greater good of the team. That's the kind of partnership that wins championships, and Ferrari is lucky to have both of them in their garage. As we look ahead to Sunday's race, there's a growing sense of anticipation surrounding what could become one of the most memorable Grand Prix of the season. The Austrian Grand Prix has always had a reputation for delivering drama, unpredictability, and intense wheel-to-wheel racing, but this year feels different. The stakes are higher, the competition is tighter, and the battle between the leading teams has reached a fascinating new level. With Mercedes securing pole position, Ferrari showing remarkable progress, and strategy expected to play a decisive role, fans are preparing for a race that could have major consequences, not only for the race result, but also for the championship fight as a whole. The Red Bull Ring may be one of the shorter circuits on the Formula One calendar, but what it lacks in length, it more than makes up for in excitement. The track's layout encourages overtaking opportunities, strategic battles, and constant pressure on both drivers and engineers. Every lap presents a challenge, and every decision can have a significant impact on the final outcome. Teams know that a single mistake, whether in the pits or on track, could completely change their fortunes. Mercedes will start the race from the strongest possible position after delivering an impressive qualifying performance. Pole position provides a clear advantage, particularly on a circuit where track position can be crucial during the opening stages. However, being at the front also comes with immense pressure.
The team knows that Ferrari has made substantial gains, and they will be expecting relentless attacks from behind throughout the race. Starting first is one thing, staying there for more than 70 laps is another challenge entirely. Ferrari's performance during qualifying was one of the biggest stories of the weekend. Many observers expected Mercedes to dominate, but Ferrari surprised everyone by closing the gap significantly. The Italian team appears to have unlocked additional pace at exactly the right moment, transforming what looked like a comfortable Mercedes advantage into a genuine battle for victory. This improvement has injected a fresh sense of excitement into the championship and reminded everyone why Formula One remains one of the most competitive forms of motorsport in the world. What makes Ferrari's progress particularly interesting is the speed with which it happened. Reports suggest that the team worked tirelessly overnight, analyzing data, adjusting setup configurations, and refining their approach to tire management. These changes appeared to have immediate dividends. The drivers looked more comfortable, the car appeared more balanced, and the overall performance level improved dramatically. In modern Formula One, finding a few tenths of a second can be the difference between fighting for victory and struggling to reach the podium. Ferrari seems to have found those crucial tenths at precisely the right time.
Particularly confident in its ability to manage tire wear over longer stints, which could provide a significant advantage during the crucial middle phase of the race. If they can maintain competitive pace while preserving their tires better than Mercedes, they could find themselves in a very strong position when it matters most. Mercedes, meanwhile, faces a different challenge. While their qualifying pace was exceptional, race pace is an entirely different equation. The team must decide whether to prioritize track position or focus on maximizing tire life. Both approaches carry risks, and choosing the wrong strategy could open the door for Ferrari to seize control of the race. Formula One history is filled with examples of races won and lost on the pit wall rather than on the track, and Sunday could provide another classic example. One of the most fascinating elements of this weekend is the evolving dynamic between the drivers themselves. Formula One is often described as a team sport disguised as an individual competition. While drivers receive most of the attention, teamwork remains essential to success. This reality became even more intriguing following Lewis Hamilton's comments regarding Charles Leclerc. Hamilton's suggestion that he would welcome cooperation with Leclerc adds a fascinating psychological dimension to the race. On the surface, it may appear to be a simple observation, but experienced Formula One followers understand that comments like these are rarely accidental. Every statement made by a seven-time world champion carries weight. Every word is analyzed by competitors, teams, and fans alike. By openly discussing the possibility of working with Leclerc, Hamilton may have added an additional layer of pressure for Mercedes and George Russell. Instead of worrying about a single Ferrari, Russell could potentially find himself defending against a coordinated effort from two highly talented drivers. Even if no formal cooperation exists, the mere possibility forces Mercedes to consider multiple scenarios and prepare for a wider range of strategic threats. Psychology has always been an important part of Formula One. The sport demands not only physical skill, but also extraordinary mental strength. Drivers operate at the limit of performance while managing pressure from their teams, rivals, media, and millions of fans around the world. In such an environment, confidence can become a powerful weapon. Hamilton has built much of his legendary career on his ability to remain calm under pressure while simultaneously applying pressure to his rivals. Over the years, he's demonstrated an exceptional understanding of the mental side of racing. He knows how to influence narratives, create uncertainty, and force competitors into difficult situations. Whether intentional or not, his recent comments have certainly added another intriguing storyline to an already compelling weekend. George Russell enters the race facing one of the biggest challenges of his season. Pole position is a fantastic achievement, but it also makes him the primary target. Every driver behind him will be focused on finding a way past. Every strategic decision will be designed with beating him in mind. While Russell has proven himself to be one of the fastest and most determined drivers on the grid, leading from the front under intense pressure requires a unique combination of skill, confidence, and composure. The opening lap could prove particularly important. The run to the first corner at the Red Bull Ring often produces dramatic moments, and the drivers immediately behind Russell will be eager to capitalize on any opportunity. A strong start could allow him to establish control of the race, while a poor getaway could instantly transform the strategic landscape. Charles Leclerc also has a major role to play in this unfolding story. The Ferrari driver has consistently demonstrated exceptional qualifying speed and racecraft throughout his Formula One career. When given a competitive car, he's shown that he can challenge anyone on the grid.
If Ferrari's improvements are genuine and sustainable over a race distance, Leclerc could emerge as one of the strongest contenders for victory. What makes Leclerc particularly dangerous is his ability to manage tires while maintaining impressive pace. This combination is incredibly valuable on a circuit where strategy is expected to play such a significant role. If he can remain within striking distance during the early stages, he may have opportunities to attack later in the race when tire performance becomes increasingly important. Beyond the battle at the front, there are numerous other storylines worth following. Midfield teams are constantly searching for opportunities to score valuable points, and Austria often provides unexpected chances for smaller teams to shine. Safety cars, virtual safety cars, weather changes, and strategic gambles can completely reshape the order and create opportunities for drivers who might otherwise remain outside the spotlight. The possibility of a safety car is another factor that cannot be ignored. The Red Bull Ring's compact layout often leads to close racing and occasional incidents. A perfectly executed strategy can be instantly disrupted by a safety car period, while a struggling team can suddenly find itself back in contention through a well-timed pit stop. This unpredictability is one of the reasons why Formula One remains so captivating. Weather conditions could also become a significant factor. Austrian Grand Prix have a history of producing unexpected weather changes. A brief rain shower can transform a straightforward race into complete chaos, forcing teams to make rapid decisions under immense pressure. Drivers must constantly adapt, and those who react quickest often gain a substantial advantage. Another element worth considering is championship momentum. In Formula One, momentum can be almost as important as points. A strong result can boost morale throughout an entire organization, while a disappointing weekend can create frustration and uncertainty. With the championship battle becoming increasingly competitive, every race carries additional significance. For Mercedes, victory would reinforce the belief that their recent progress is genuine and sustainable. It would demonstrate that they possess both the speed and operational excellence required to compete consistently at the front. For Ferrari, a win would validate months of development work and confirm that they have successfully closed the gap to their rivals. The fans are also a crucial part of what makes this event special. Thousands of spectators have traveled to the track, while millions more will watch from around the world. Their passion, energy, and enthusiasm contribute to the unique atmosphere that surrounds every Formula One weekend. The Austrian Grand Prix consistently attracts some of the most passionate crowds of the season, creating an environment that drivers often describe as electric. As race day approaches, speculation continues to grow. Analysts are debating strategies, fans are making predictions, teams are running simulations and preparing for every conceivable scenario. Yet despite all the data, technology, and expertise available in modern Formula One, uncertainty remains at the heart of the sport. That uncertainty is precisely what makes Formula One so compelling. If the outcome were obvious, the excitement would disappear. Instead, we enter Sunday with genuine questions. Can Mercedes convert pole position into victory? Has Ferrari truly found the performance needed to challenge for the win? Will strategy decide the race? Could a safety car change everything? Will Hamilton's psychological games have any effect on his rivals? The truth is that nobody knows for certain, and perhaps that is the most exciting aspect of all. In conclusion, the Austrian Grand Prix is shaping up to be one of the standout events of the season. Mercedes begins from the front, Ferrari appears stronger than ever, and strategic decisions will likely determine who stands on the top step of the podium. The combination of technical innovation, driver skill, tactical complexity, and psychological warfare has created the perfect recipe for an unforgettable race. Every lap will matter, every pit stop will be scrutinized, and every decision could influence the championship battle. Whether you support Mercedes, Ferrari, or simply enjoy watching elite athletes compete at the highest level, this is a race that promises excitement from start to finish. The pressure is immense, the competition is fierce, and the potential for drama is enormous. As the lights prepare to go out at the Red Bull Ring, one thing is absolutely clear. Formula One fans are about to witness a spectacular contest. Anything can happen in Austria, and based on everything we've seen so far, it probably will.